All right, so after owning the S5 II for a whole year now, I thought this would be the perfect time to make a video on what I love about this camera and what I don't. So this video is going to literally help out anybody that's trying to decide on buying this camera, or if you just literally are looking for a great budget cinema camera that's less than 2,000. First things first, we're going to talk about the price. Obviously, I just said that it's less than $2,000 now, which I find to be crazy because with the phase detect, autofocus, and just all of these pro features that it has, you can now get the body alone for 1,600, which I'm kind of pissed off about that because I paid 2,500. So yeah, it's literally been a year now. The next thing I literally want to highlight is the 6K capabilities. A lot of people want to shoot 6K and all of this type of stuff. A lot of people get wrapped up in that too much, and they think that, oh, if I get a camera that shoots 12K, it's going to look way better. When in reality, sometimes that 4K can actually be more detailed than 12K, depending on what type of device you're viewing it on. For the most part, a lot of people watch things on their phones and tablets and stuff in the first place, so you're not going to really see all of those different levels of 8K and all of that for the most part. So 6K is like a sweet spot because I think they are going to start optimizing things to actually see the 6K, but for right now, that's still a little bit overkill for me. With that alone, having the 6K capabilities with, the autofocus, which is truly amazing. Just for that price point, now at 1,600 is literally mind-blowing to me. I feel like you somebody that literally wants to take your quality to the next level. I don't feel like you should hesitate at all. I don't even think twice about it. I will say that this camera is also great for vlogging, which I do a lot. I do a lot of my cinematic vlogs with this camera. In this video, I don't want to get too deep into like technicalities and into settings and all of that type of stuff, but let me know down below if y'all would like to my process on how I film myself. I think with this being a cinema camera slash vlog camera is amazing to me as well. Very versatile when it comes to getting shots, and I love that it have the swivel screen. Now that's one con I do want to go ahead and throw in there. I do not like the size of the screen. It is actually smaller than the GH5 because I'm like, damn, when I be trying to see myself outside with the little screen, and then you already have all these different things on the interface showing you the frame rate and all of this, it just makes the screen feel even smaller. So for me, that's the one thing I don't truly like about it. I wish that they would have made the screen a little bit bigger, but at the same time, I feel like for all of the other features that it has, that's like tip of the iceberg, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to get too wrapped up in that, but if you are looking for something that is just very easy to use, I would definitely use this camera for sure. So another thing I really love about the S5 II is the Vlog and how easy it is to color grade and get the best dynamic look. The Vlog picture profile, when it comes to that, you get way much more dynamic range. Now, I will say that if you don't understand how to color grade, that's going to be a challenge for you, especially because it's going to literally strip all of the color out. When you shoot with color already added to the footage, sometimes you actually lose detail in certain places. But for Vlog, it's designed to literally give you a flat image so that way you can push the shadows, the highlights, and the mid-tones as far as you want. I will say if you are a person that's struggling with trying to color grade the Vlog and all of that, I did create an S5 II LUT Pack. It also works for the X. And not only do it works for those two, it also works for any camera that shoots Vlog. And I do want to say that I have a lot of people that hit me all the time that have purchased my LUT packs, and they literally tell me that these are some of the best LUTs that they have used, honestly. And I'm not gonna lie, I personally have bought some before I created my own, and they didn't work too well. But overall, I definitely would want to say it's worth the money for real. And if y'all think I'm lying, I want anybody that's watching this video that has tried my LUT pack for the S5 II or whatever, let them know in the comments what y'all honest feedback is on it, so they know I'm not bullshitting. But anyway, it's only $50, you know what I'm saying? I know that's probably a lot for some people, but I truly felt like it's me giving y'all access to my personal look, and I just think it's worth the money for real, especially if it works for every scenario. And I do want to say I am going to be creating a different LUT pack that has more natural looks instead of like super stylized, over dramatic blues and super warm, contrasty feel. I am in the process of creating that for you guys too. So let me know if y'all are going to be looking forward to that. Is just how easy it is to color grade the footage from Vlog. So Vlog has a lot of dynamic range. This camera alone has 14 stops of dynamic range, or actually I think 14 plus stops. If you expose your shots properly and you use the right ND filters and all of that, you can literally see even more dynamic range than I think you should, because a lot of people are DMing me all the time and asking like what camera I use. They sometimes think I use a higher end camera, but the purpose of this channel is to literally teach people that you don't need a lot to make great things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta literally just master the basics and you'll be surprised with what you get out of that. So with this camera alone, just having the 14 plus stops of dynamic range, that's what also sold me on it too. Because dynamic range literally gives you a more cinematic look. You get to see more detail. It just makes things stand out more. Versus, you know, I mean, cameras that have way less dynamic range, you don't see as much detail in the sky and just in the skin and just everything. Overall, I feel like that's a very important feature to have. And to me, that's one of the major selling points with this camera as well. I don't truly feel like you're going to find anything else at this rate now that is capable of doing that. Another major selling point on this camera for me was the ability to shoot open gate. So I never heard of open gate at all until you started researching the S5 II, and I was like, what's the difference between open gate and all of this? But basically what it is, you utilize the full frame sensor when you film versus like getting the crop version where you're in the 16:9 aspect ratio. With 3:2, you're literally getting more room at the top and the bottom of the frame. So you basically want to utilize the open gate feature when you are trying to shoot for YouTube and for TikTok or IG Reels at the same time, because it gives you more room on the sides and the top. And when you do that, when you start to crop, you don't lose any quality, especially if you're shooting at 6K, which that's the only way you could do open gate. And I truly love that feature the most. It does help me out with shooting content for content creators and all of that. That is probably the biggest selling point as well for me. And this is something that I didn't know I was going to fall in love with, but I did. I definitely would recommend getting it if you are a content creator as well that wants to shoot for both types of content at the same time. It just makes it so much easier to not have to worry about that. The lens choices on here are pretty good. I really do love the Sigma lenses on here as well, but I'm not gonna lie, I think Panasonic just literally did a great job with designing their lenses. The autofocus is very snappy on here. Before getting this camera, I was considering getting the A7S III because I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like it still has better dynamic range in this camera, and of course the low light capabilities is going to like beat this at any point. But I was considering buying the A7S III, but at the time trying to buy that brand new with a lens was going to be close to $4,000. So I was like, it'll be crazy as hell to like not experiment with a brand that I already am very familiar with, and they have way better prices on their lenses and stuff. Sony can get very expensive, but I will say that they have some of the cleanest images I ever saw. And sometimes people say it's a little too clean, so that's why I think this camera was right in the middle for me. And just at the price point, I honestly couldn't deny it. The autofocus on this camera is truly amazing. Now, I will say that if you're a person that's doing weddings and just events where you're trying to make sure to track this one person in the midst of a lot of people, I don't think this camera is for you. I'm gonna just be all the way honest. That's one of the cons that I do think they need to work on. I think they had a way to where it can track like what the subject has on versus just like phase detect. I think that'd be much better, because when I try to film music videos or corporate events and stuff like that, and it's a lot of people just walking around, it does get very confused on who to focus on, and that right there can ruin your shot very fast. So me being a person that doesn't always use autofocus, it's not a big deal to me. I love shooting handheld and controlling the focus myself, but what's the point of buying this camera and not utilizing the best feature that it has? So I will say that if you are filming yourself, it literally has no issues for the most part. I do peep that the Sigma lenses are not as great at finding focus as the Panasonic lenses. I don't know if that's just a third-party thing, but overall, I definitely love the Panasonic lenses the most when it comes to that feature. The next thing I want to talk about is just how easy it is to rig this up. I literally just dropped a video about building this up, and it didn't even take as much money as I thought to like create a full cinema setup with this. I think for additional $700 to $800, you can get a full rig, cage, monitor, all of that, and you'll be ready to go. And when you pull up, people will literally be fascinated and think you're pulling up with some Hollywood camera. That's if they don't know what they're doing, or what they don't know anything at all. But for the most part, the clients do love seeing the camera set up, and it just makes them excited to start filming. Now, what I do want to get into is some of the cons on this camera. So the main con, like I said earlier, was like monitor for me. It doesn't work all the time, and I guess it's because I filmed in the rain, but they did say it's supposed to be weather sealed. But now I'm not able to like take photos anymore on this camera as of right now, which I'm gonna have to get that fixed. Sometimes things doesn't really and react as fast as it should. And I don't know if this is just my defect with my camera from me filming in the rain unexpectedly sometime, but my shutter button no longer works. And it works here and there. I have to keep pressing the button, just keep trying it, and eventually it'll come on. But that's something that I need to send in, and I think I did this to myself, just like I said, filming in the rain. But they did promote that it's weather sealed, which means a little bit of rain shouldn't affect anything, but who knows. If you want to save money, I would say get this version, which is the S5 II, and you can also pay $200 later on if you want to upgrade to get the HDMI external recording feature and some other stuff that the X has. But overall, I do not feel like it's worth spending way more money to get the X over this, because I promise you the quality is damn near identical, and the only thing that the X has over it is the ProRes RAW internal, which is only 1080p. And at the same time, you don't care to shoot RAW and you just truly know how to set the camera right the first time, you wouldn't really need to go and post and tweak anything anyway. So for me personally, I feel like it pushes me to be a better cinematographer anyway. You gotta make sure things are right on set the first time. And that's pretty much like why I didn't feel like I needed the X for anything else. So outside of that, I guess it would be, damn, this is pretty hard. To be honest, I really don't have a lot of things I don't like about the camera. And I think the more that I have experimented with other cameras, I just truly don't have any complaints. Something that I will say, like I said too, autofocus, like I said, is sometimes great, sometimes it's not too good. That's something to look out for if you are filming people moving a lot. But overall, man, I do want to say that this camera is just a 10 out of 10 for me. I literally was like edge with it at first because I didn't understand how to use it. And to be honest, I've been on Blackmagic cameras for the past couple years, so coming back to Panasonic was different for me. But overall, this camera is literally the best one to buy right now if you are on a budget and you want to get a high-end cinema look. To be honest, I think after using it for a year and just comparing it to the other 5 cameras I have, I truly don't have too many complaints. I do want to say as well, if y'all have anything that y'all feel like I left out, please let me know in the comments. I am very interactive with the people on my channel. I try to make sure I answer every comment. It'd be a lot for me, but I don't overlook anything. So with that being said, man, I really hope y'all enjoyed this video today, and make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also let me know what y'all want to see in the next video. But with that being said, it's your boy Prime ATL. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time.